welcome to the Power Gamer Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dawson, joined as always by fellow hosts, Kim Ponticello and Johnny Paulus. Kim, welcome in. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Fantastic. It's been a big week for you in the gaming space. We're gonna have some fun here later in the show because you finally completed what might be one of the longest playthroughs of Inscryption of all time.
For real. For real.
We're gonna talk about it later, but yes, I took almost 45 hours.
That's amazing.
Johnny,
I
wouldn't have it any other way.
Johnny, we see the Christmas tree illuminated behind you as we do this time of year. Kim, I know that you were putting up a Christmas tree earlier. How's everybody feeling? We're right up close to Christmas. This is going to be the last show that we record until after Christmas. We are going to take next week off. Let's get, I guess, a holiday check-in. Johnny, I guess we'll start in and say hello to you.
Hello.
Christmas is right around the corner.
Yep.
How you doing?
Doing good. I'm glad that we were finally able to fix my PlayStation 5.
Yes. Merry Christmas to all.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly to young gamers in the Paulus household.
Yeah. No, I mean, the PlayStation's only been getting worse and worse and worse with the overheating. And it's one of those things that every time it happens, the kids go, "Dad, the PlayStation overheated again." And it's like, okay. Fuck do you want me to do about it? I don't
blow on it.
It overheated.
Did you tell him that Daddy and Uncle Mike squirted some special sauce into the PlayStation and fixed it?
Don't ever say that again.
Okay. Now, so here's the crazy thing about the PS5. Okay, Kim, how many screws do you think you would have to undo to get to the processor inside of a PS5?
I'm gonna say approximately 1.2 gajillion.
Okay, you're pretty close. 42.
I was being really facetious.
42. So, and the thing is like when you're taking the side panels off, it's like, all right, those 4 screws, the fan comes out. Those 4 screws, the cover comes out. And then there's like the sandwich that is one side is like the motherboard and the processor and the RAM and like all the electronic stuff. And then the other is like the big heat sink and all the stuff that's going to cool it all off. And they're smushed together. And to get those two apart, there's literally these little bitty screws that are like a half inch. Every half inch, every inch, there's another one all the way around the whole PlayStation 5. And then you peel that bad boy off, and they use this really weird liquid thermal compound. So, like, if you've ever put thermal compound on a regular computer, it's like kind of toothpastey. This is like, it looks like mercury out of a thermometer. Like, it's
That's
like
cool.
shiny metal, and it's like liquid. And there's sort of almost like a syringe. You put the little thing on, and you squirt.
So it goes in easy, is what you're saying.
It goes in real easy. Yeah, you can get it right on in there.
It's real sticky stuff.
So yeah, so we took the whole thing apart, and I reapplied the thermal compound, and then we put it all back together. And when we were done, I had like 3 or 4 screws that we didn't know where they went, and we went, it's not going to come apart, so we're
That's
okay.
How it goes. Yeah.
And then I brought it home, and I've now gamed on it for, I don't know, 5-6 hours, and it has not overheated once. So I think we have successfully resolved the problem. So now we can all go back to playing the PlayStation on a regular basis again. And the boys are both really excited about the new Avatar game. So I think I might have to put that under the Christmas tree.
Very good. Yeah, I've had an interesting week. I'll save more details about that once things become clearer in the near future, so I don't curse myself.
That's fair.
Do you guys, like, with your parents and stuff, still do presents? Is that
My parents are both dead.
All right, so you're off the hook, Kim. You're off the hook.
So no.
Well, I mean, up until they passed away, like, was present giving still a thing, or
My mom was a morphine addict and I didn't know her. And my father, no, my father was like super chill. And so we like, we just call each other. We live like pretty far. So we would call each other and be like, yo, Merry Christmas, asshole. You know what I mean?
nice. I finally had the talk with my parents. Now I'm of course the baby of the show here. So I've not had to deal with this as long, but I finally said to them, I'm like, we're pretty we pretty much have everything that we want. I was like, why not, instead of spending all this time and like stressing and shopping and all this stuff for each other, like, let's just, can we stop? Can we stop doing that? And my mom looks at me and she's like, oh yeah, yes.
Well, that's good.
I
It's
was
like,
like,
yeah, we can make that happen.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, that's perfect. I said, why don't you guys just come over? We're going to watch some stupid Christmas movies. We're going to make a bunch of food. We'll spend money on that. And just come over, hang out, and that's all we want. Just come over on Christmas Eve and let's do that. So I was proud that I was finally able to break, at least on one side of the family, from having to still do that, even though it's like, man, I probably should have had this talk like 10 years ago or so, because I'm getting close to 40 now, and I'm like, why are we still doing this?
Yeah.
Like, let's just blow it on the kids and we can just hang out and eat and stuff. That sounds better to me. Johnny, what about you? Are you still engaged in parental present buying? Is that still a thing? Are you going to have the talk at any point?
No. I mean, we don't like go crazy on each other. We'll, it'll be like little stuff. Like my mom will get me like whatever, like socks or a shirt, and I'll get her like a calendar or something. It's nothing expensive, but if I get something that I think she'll like, yeah, I buy my mom Christmas gifts. Now I will say on my wife's side, which she's the one with the big family, so she's got 3 brothers and they're all married and they all have kids, and then her father. I mean, there's so much. So on that side, we just Secret Santa. Everybody gets on a list, and they're like, this year you're getting a gift for that person. And it's like I think the adult gift is 50, and then the kids gift is like 20 or 30 or whatever. And so the kids get to gift for a kid in the family, and the adults get to gift for an adult in the family, and then that's it. It's not everybody's buying a gift for everybody, because there's too many of us.
Yeah, I tend to just stick to the kids. And then Johnny, you've seen this before. Like, if I see something cool that I think one of my friends would like, I'll just buy it.
Yeah.
And give it to them, like, completely by surprise.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was that baseball bat thing that I saw this one year. I'm like, Johnny would love this. Yeah, it's a like beer glass made out of an actual baseball bat.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And I have his
badass.
Cheers. I
Love
have his
this
Cheers emote from his Twitch channel.
Yeah,
engraved on the back of it.
That's the emote command from my channel.
That's pretty cool.
It's badass.
So, like,
no, I love this. Again, thank you, Mike.
Yeah, Kim, you might one day find a package if I see something cool.
I am okay with that.
But yeah, I'm glad it's finally here. Man, I've had so much going on this past week, so I'm like, I'm going away this weekend, which is going to be awesome. I'm going off to Ocean City for my 7th anniversary, so just going to be eating at all my favorite restaurants down in Ocean City, Maryland.
Hell yeah.
Maybe visit the old Dogfish Head factory. That would be nice. I noticed I was saying to Kim before you hopped in here, Johnny, I'm like, when we're the same, just by chance, because we've been recording on different days like the past 3 weeks, I own a ton of hoodies. If you watch the last 3 episodes of the show, I'm wearing the same fucking hoodie each time.
It's fucking hoodie season, man. That's what us dudes do, man.
I
have
mean,
so
hoodie
many.
season.
Like, I alternate.
I do too.
I alternate every day, but it looks like I'm the smelly kid at school that wears the same hoodie every single day the entire school year.
Yeah,
no, you don't have to wear the same hoodie for us to know that you're the smelly kid.
I'm the opposite. I've been rocking the same Deftones White Pony hoodie for like 5 or 6 years. I will say I've found a really dope Star Wars Andor hoodie that I put on my Christmas list. It just has the logo, nothing else. It's a nice zip up. That's actually like one of the only things on my Christmas list that I really, really want.
Yeah, all I want for Christmas this year, truly, is the paternity test that proves our viewers' suspicions that me and Johnny are actually related.
I gotta tell you, like, it was so funny because so my partner, my partner was like, "Let me go watch the latest YouTube," you know. And normally he'll just like listen, but he was like, "Let me throw the YouTube on," and he immediately sends me a DM, and he's like, "Why do Mike and Johnny look exactly the same?" I was like, I don't know. But
White
it was like
bearded
literally
dudes
the
with
first thing he
glasses, I don't
said.
know what to tell you.
That's it. Nerdy bearded dudes with glasses.
That's it.
Yeah, and
That's
the irony is Johnny's like, what are you, 6 or 7 years older than me? It's just I don't hold it up because I've got the gray gene going in full
Yeah.
effect. So yeah, we even look kind of like I might be the older brother in some instances. It's kind of
Which is
weird.
really funny.
Yeah, it's just it hasn't worked out for me.
You guys are both
I'm
still
43
stunning.
next year. I'm almost 43.
Oh, thank you.
43. I just turned the big 50.
I know.
Yes,
I don't look 50 though, so I'm okay with that.
It's okay. I don't look
eternally
43.
You
youthful.
don't.
It's those Italian genes, that Ponticello. It keeps you young forever.
That's it. My grandmother didn't have a gray hair on her head till she was like in her 70s. She looked really young up until the day she died.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It's episode 143 of your Power Gamer podcast. We have a great episode for you planned this week. Maybe a little shorter, maybe not. We'll have to see where we go, how far off the tracks we run towards the end. We do appreciate the amazing support that you've shown this past week. I think on audio platforms, for a rather standard episode, we've seen incredible support, especially over on Amazon. Hundreds of you tuned in there, and hundreds of you tuned in elsewhere. And it's really fantastic. So from each of us, thank you. It's kind of funny to think from where we started 3 years ago, when we'd be very excited to see, oh my God, 10 people listen to this show, to where we are now, where I'm trying to picture sitting in front of an audience of hundreds of you each week. So we do appreciate it greatly.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen lots of positive feedback about Kim joining us. So that's been great. Thank you for all the kind words.
Thank you.
Regarding her joining the show. We're happy to have her here with us moving forward. All we ask in return is help us someday turn this into something more. So if you're listening to us on an audio platform, leave us a 5-star review, as many of you have. And if you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like and subscribe button.
Don't ever do that again.
Or leave us a nice comment.
Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, you scallywags. It's been an interesting week. We don't often have huge news to talk about of late, it seems. It's been kind of a stale news year, as we've just been bombarded with game releases. But something that we talked about a few weeks ago has reached its probably penultimate destination, we'll say, because I'm sure we're not done hearing about this. But today it's time to talk about the day before. So as many of you are probably aware, this has officially turned into the #1 shit show of 2023. The day before came out on Steam, and 4 days later was yanked off the platform. And we saw a post from the developer, Fntastic, that they're shutting down their studio. And I can't really think of a time previously where I saw something quite like this. So I wanted to take a look over here at the article posted on Forbes, written by Paul Tassi, reporting on this. He writes, the day before isn't a scam crowd is not looking too hot today. 4 days after the launch, when the day before attracted 500,000 viewers on Steam after selling early access for $40. Its developer Fntastic is shutting down completely, according to a new statement. The just released statement says the day before failed financially and that the income that was brought in is being used to pay off debts. They say they cannot afford to patch the extremely broken game, that's an understatement, which launched in an entirely different genre than was originally promised, an extraction shooter rather than a survival MMO. The message goes on to say that the day before did not take any crowdfunding development, and they worked hard for 5 years to get the game out. But of course, they did take the $40 of everyone who paid for the game in these last 4 days of launch. They say at the moment, the day before servers will remain operational, where somehow there's still 4,400 concurrent players with a 7,600 peak the last 24 hours. Its all-time high was I'll interject the word paltry, 38,000 concurrents on Steam. So Fntastic has, I guess you say they've taken the money and ran, put the game up. We're happy to take people's money for it, although I'm sure they were well aware of what they were putting out there. Took the money and have since closed their doors. They have taken down their website. They've taken down all of their presence on social media other than a statement that was posted to Twitter, the X. And yeah, so it's kind of a big mess. And what's funny is not that she's the only one who caught it, but very, very adamantly, Kim, you called this a few weeks ago.
I called this months ago.
And here we are. So what's going on?
I literally said months ago, and not just like, oh, this game's going to be a failure. I literally said verbatim, this company is going to release the game, people are going to buy it, and then they're going to close their company and they're going to reopen under a different name. I called it and I knew it was going to happen. And I'm so glad I didn't buy the game. I made like a little timeline and I thought it was really, there are some interesting little facts on here. So first of all, the day the game opened, their Discord blew up. Like people were like, this is not the game you said it was going to be. And the people running the Discord were like, refund it. Like they didn't even want to deal with it. They were like, refund the game. So a bunch of people refunded because Steam is like, if you play for less than 2 hours, own the game for less than 2 weeks, you can refund the game. So people refunded. Okay, fine. The people who did play it for more than 2 hours, and then all of a sudden Fntastic is like, uh-oh, like, sorry, it didn't do well. We're closing up our development studio, even though games don't do well all the time. And it's kind of like opening a restaurant and expecting to make $1 million the first day, you know? So at first they were like, they straight up said, so Fntastic pointed fingers to Mytona, the publisher. And they were like, we can't handle this. You have to, if Steam won't give it to you, then you have to contact Mytona. Now, keep that name in your mind, okay? Mytona, the publishing company, is who Fntastic was like pointing everything toward. Okay. So 2015 is when their studio opened. In 2017, they created a game called Wild 8 under the developer name 8 Points. Okay. I have it. I've never played it. They raised $60,000 on Kickstarter. The game was released, but never really finished. The game was then sold to Hype Train Digital, the publisher, because there were like in-house problems with 8 Points. So they sold the game to Hype Train Digital, who really has like put some stuff into it, apparently. I still haven't tried the game. And recently, 2 days ago, when all this happened, Hype Train Digital was like, let's distance ourselves from Fntastic and change the developer name on the Wild 8, but they changed it back to 8 points. And people are looking and seeing that 8 points is still fantastical. So I don't know what they were thinking, because now they're getting like a bunch of shit for still having Fntastic. Did I say fanatical? For still having Fntastic as the dev, but under a different name. Okay. Okay, fine. So 2018, they then developed Dead Dozen. I had that game. It was a horrible game. The game never ever worked properly. In 2021, while the game was still broken, one of the devs got onto the Steam forums and was like, hey, we just recently recovered after that D-Day. I don't know what that was. As you know, we went through hard times and didn't give up. Today, we're back stronger, bigger, better than ever. We're glad to see you here with us. We have some great ideas for Dead Dozen, but right now we're focusing on delivering our new game according to the contract with its publisher. Let's stay connected. Nothing was ever done with Dead Dozen again. Done. People bought the game died. Okay? I'm assuming the new game was Prop Night, because then they did come out with a quick little 40-minute game in 2018, but in 2021 they came out with Prop Night. Now, remember the name Mytona? Okay. Prop Night is published by Mytona Fntastic. So Fntastic is pointing people to Mytona. Mytona is fantastic. Right? So come on. Like, what a freaking scam. And now they came out with the day before, and it's exactly what happened. And I can almost guarantee they're going to come up with a new name. They're going to dissolve their business. They're going to make a new business, and they're going to come out with another game, and it's going to happen again and again. And I firmly believe they need to be investigated. Not to mention how they've handled everything on Twitter has been horrendous. They're just terrible. They're just absolutely terrible. They have zero people skills. They need to be investigated. Now they're saying that they received zero money. They received nothing, because now the publisher is they're allowing Steam to give refunds to everybody. So.
Yeah, it's such a strange methodology to try and capture the lightning in the bottle through this particular medium. We've seen it in some ways previously, but I don't ever think really quite to this extent that we've been seeing with the day before. Like this sort of reminds me, and I'm sure a lot of other people listening to the show that keep up with gaming news, of the whole debacle surrounding the game Abandoned that was prevalent in the news last year, where the guy was like pretending to be Hideo Kojima and doing all this stuff to get his game weird press and hype and funding, and he's disappeared off the face of the planet Earth, mainly thanks to being drawn out by the former IGN editor, Colin Moriarty, who more or less trapped him in an interview where this guy spilled all the beans, so to speak, in a masterful interview that you can find online. But just set the guy up, gave him all the rope, and he hung himself, basically. And you almost need people like that, like the Colin Moriartys, the Jason Schreiers of the world, to kind of go after these people and stop that cycle from continuing. Because the thing that they use as a weapon to try and line their pockets, Kim, is exactly what you're talking about. It's setting up all these strawman companies to point to the second things go wrong, and it's as though, and surely is, that they plan for shit to go wrong and plan for these things to happen. I mean, how could you release the game like this? Your plan, obviously, at that point is that there's enough hype behind the product that enough people will buy the game in early access that you can then begin your business plan is to have an apology tour. That's the business plan. which is
I
fucking
think
ridiculous.
I think the only other game I saw this with where it was this bad. So I was thankfully given the game, but Pike loved it so much. My partner loved it so much that he bought it. It was called Breach, and it was a really cool game, really cool concept, beautiful art style. And I don't know why, but they were like, never mind. And they took all the money. Nobody got refunds.
Right.
Nobody. They just stopped making the game. It was like the craziest thing. And I'm like, how can people get away with that? And I don't know whatever happened to those devs. I don't even know the name of the dev company, but it was so wild to me because it was such a cool game and it really seemed like it was going somewhere. And they pulled out of nowhere. And obviously, everybody had played the game for more than 2 hours. And so Steam was like, sorry, we can't give you any refunds. And Breach was like, yeah, sorry, no, we're just not developing.
Yep.
And the game was practically done. So I can't help but think it was a money grab.
Part of the trouble too is in a lot of these games, you'll almost notice a 100% constant that these games are digital media where the end user license agreement, the EULA, is written in such a way that fine print that really takes advantage of one of the risks of digital media, which is that you don't own it, so to speak. You're buying the right to play the game, to have it stored in a library, but at any time service can cease and that product can no longer be usable by the user. So what's a little curious in this instance for how hard they've shut their doors is that the game is still online. You can still play it, though I don't know why the fuck you would want to. It's completely broken mess of a game, unless you just are in it to make memes, which it is good for that.
Yeah, many people are memeing it. Yep.
But that's kind of a big pond with enough fish in it already. Johnny, throughout our long history together, you are someone in particular that I can point to that I would say reacts very strongly against being ripped off. And it doesn't have to be something this major. It could be something a little smaller. But you're quick to stand up and say, "Hey, wait a second, motherfucker." Where are you at with this?
This is why I avoid early access like the plague. The last title that I supported in early access was Baldur's Gate 3 because it was Larian Studios and I knew it was going to be fucking awesome. I had no question at all that my money was going to a good place and that I was going to get a good product for my money. And I figured if I, during that development period, ever want to just check in and see how they're doing, which I did. I mean, I amassed probably, 15 hours worth of gameplay before the game came out. I would just kind of pop in and play it for a day or two and go, okay, cool, I'll wait till it's done. But this stuff is why I don't mess with early access. There are so many of these companies, I felt like I got ripped off with Rust. Because with Rust, they kept going, well, we're going to add this, and then we're going to add that, and then we're going to add this. And then when they finally went, here it is, it's done. And you're like, you didn't do any of the shit that you said you were going to do. This is not the game that we were talking about you guys making. So the moment you see the trailer for the day before, anyone with their fucking brain screwed on tight enough goes, this seems a little too good to be true. That the developers behind Prop Night made this, because the trailer looks fucking awesome. It looks like, holy shit, this is going to be a motherfucker of a game. It is a motherfucker of a game, just not in a good way. It's a big pile of shit. By the way, did you see the IGN score?
First one given in 12 years.
Really?
IGN gave it a 1 out of 10. And you know how when they give it a 10, it says masterpiece? Guess what it says next to 1?
What?
Unbearable. Unbearable. I know that 38,000 sounds like a paltry number, Mike, but when you do the math, 38,000 at $40 a pop is $1.5 million. It's a lot of money. It's a good little chunk of bread. You would think that if you ever had aspirations of actually finishing the game in the first place, if you actually had investors that believed that you had a real product and not a fucking, a box of fog and clouds and smoke that you wanted to sell people, that would be enough runway to buy you another month or two to let's keep the company alive. Let's work on this feature now. How many people we got? Let's make it happen. Let's get that feature fixed. Cool. We got it. How many more copies have we sold? That buys us another 2 weeks. We're still alive. We're still fighting. We're still going. That is how you run a legitimate business. Are we still alive? Can we still keep the wheels on the bus? The fact that they released this game, sold 38,000 copies, made $1.5 million, and went, well, never mind. Just pull it off everything. We're done. We're out. Shows that this, from the very beginning, the intent was always to be a scam, in my opinion. And I think that, Kim just laid out their track record of that's what these fucking people do. They're shysters. So, listeners, when there's an early access that has a really, really cool fucking trailer and you're looking at it and you're checking it out, just wait. Just pump those brakes. Unless it's a company that you trust.
Well, and that's the thing, right? So that's, I think, what had me very suspicious, other than like looking into this company because I had a bad vibe.
Right.
What made me suspicious was you're releasing this like really amazing MMO. And I'll never forget the first trailer I saw for it. I was like, first of all, that looks really familiar. Second of all, those voices don't sound like they're actually talking in game. It sounded like recorded voices. So that was kind of shifty.
Mm-hmm.
And then third, I was looking all over to see if there was sign up for beta. And there was nothing. Whereas you have a game like Naquan. Okay, Naquan is I think it's Korean. It's a zombie survivor PvPvE extraction game. Okay. They literally ran a public alpha. Everybody could join to check out the game and give feedback. And like, if you genuinely want your game to work on release, number one, you release it under the right genre. You don't tell people it's a survival MMO, which is vastly different from an extraction game. Okay.
Yep.
You don't tell people it's a survival MMO, number one. And number two, you let people play it so that they can believe in it. Naquan was rough. I'm not going to lie to you. The alpha was really rough. Do I still have it on my wish list? Absolutely. Because it was the very, very first alpha playtest. They let everybody in. They're letting everybody give feedback. And to me, that puts a lot of trust into the company, and Fntastic didn't do that. They kept everything so under wraps. And then all of a sudden, look, we released our game and everybody's buying it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's not an MMO. It's a small extraction map.
Yeah, no,
like that. Mind blowing.
You absolutely nailed it. So a lot of these early access games, they do like a free to play period, or they'll be like, this is beta. This is a lower price point than the release game is going to be, but you own the license for the game. So I have seen games where it's like the early access is like $10 for a game that's potentially going to be $30-$40, but you're going into that transaction knowing that, well, hey, at $10, and maybe it won't be a full game. Maybe they won't finish it. It's $10. I'll roll that dice. But the fact that these guys knew they had a pile of shit, an unplayable pile of shit, and said, $40, please. Here's our awesome trailer. And then, what was it, 4 or 5 days after fucking release went, never mind, we're done.
Yep.
Is 1 out of 10 unbearable. That's fucking
unbearable.
Awful. Absolutely
it is
awful. It's pathetic. It's pitiful. And yeah, I hope that video game journalism does not let them off the hook. Whoever are behind the steering wheel at this company, they need their feet held to the fucking fire on this one, because this is like, this stinks to high hell.
Because if not, they're going to do it again, and they're going to figure out a better way to get. They're going to figure out a way to really get away with it, instead of kind of getting away with some stuff, but having to pay everything back, And unfortunately, too many companies it's too easy. It's so easy to just make money and then not really do enough for Pete's sake, look at 7 Days to Die. The game's been in early access for how long? They made $508,000 on Kickstarter. and the game's been in early access forever, and they come out with updates that do a little bit here and there, but like, come out with your game, man. Make it
One of
good. Make it a
my
good game. It's so weird.
one of my questions on this, and I've always been a numbers guy, big numbers guy. Is what were they expecting
Right.
to turn? Because for an early access game that honestly came out quite unexpectedly. I mean, we just did an episode hypothesizing that this thing might never come out, and then boom, it's out. So at one point it had 38,000 concurrent Steam players.
Yep.
So we know that at least that many copies sold. So let's say 50,000 copies sold.
And that's
Okay.
probably realistic. Yes.
So 50,000 times 40. Steam takes 30%. So they've got $1.4 million. You can't patch your game
Right.
with $1.4 million.
That's exactly my point. Yep.
You can't fix this or put any effort into it at all to take the product and continue building it so it will sell. I mean, you have the free pass. It's fucking early access for a reason. Day one of early access, there's going to be bugs. It might not be as buggy as fucking this, but there's going to be, you just got $1.5 million.
Yep.
To take your little team and start fixing shit. So why aren't you?
Early access literally means the game isn't done yet. So what were they expecting? If they genuinely wanted to come out with a good game, then that's not a plausible thought process. Putting a game out in early access, that literally means people are going to play it and you're going to do things to it until it is full release. And then it's a big deal when a game comes out full release. I mean, Gunfire Reborn is such a great example of a game that came out in early access, charged less if you get it in early access.
Yep.
And they came out with update after update after update. And that game is still absolutely amazing. And it's finally full release. And they're still going and going and going. That's what you do when you love your players and you love your game.
Yep.
You don't put a game out in early access, make money, and then say, well, it didn't do as well as we thought it would. Sorry, guys. It's early access, but we can't afford to put a patch out. You can't afford to put a patch out? What? That doesn't even make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes zero sense.
You would already be working on it as the game's released.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, again, if they had any actual intentions for legitimacy, what would have happened would have you release the buggy piece of shit, and then you go, thank you so much for your support. For those of you that are not happy with where it's at right now, here's our roadmap, and here's the order in which we're going to handle these things. You know, number one, we need to improve this. This is something that we know is an issue, and we've got to tackle it. That's the first thing our entire team is devoted to working on until we get it. And we're hopeful to have that out to you in the next couple weeks or a month. And then after that, we're going to work on this. And then after that, we're going to work on this. And the fact that, I mean, like I said, they made $1.5 million and went, we're just going to go ahead and take this bag over here, put that over here in the safe behind me. And yep, shut it down, shut it down, shut it all down. We got to change the sign on the building to a different name now.
It's like you look at Ascendant Studios, the team that made honestly from everything I've seen, Fntastic Immortals of Avium, which sold like dog shit.
Yeah, it really did.
It came out at like the worst time ever. I mean, they went through some tough spats because of it. They had to lay off 45% of their workforce, but that game's still being patched, still being worked on. They're not gone. They're still here. So my point is that the numbers tell a story, and the story that the numbers tell is that the intention wasn't ever to take the capital from the release to put it back into the game. The goal was to take the thing that they didn't really spend any time, energy, or put any love into at all and scam you.
Yep. They
That-
sold
that
everybody a
is-
polished turd. That's it.
That is what it was.
And then
that-
hope they could get away with it. And they were hoping that they could get away with some money. But
And they kind of did.
I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
supposedly everybody who requests a refund is going to get it back. But there are still people playing. So
Right. So they still win.
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about $1.4 million that those deductions are coming off of.
Yep.
And it could be more. I mean, I'm just guesstimating that 50,000 is the number based on the concurrent player base.
Right.
It could be way higher than that.
Yep.
I don't know. We won't find out. So 4 days is how long it took the
Fucking
day before
Unreal.
to completely go upside down. So rest in peace, or actually in this instance,
Rest in pieces.
pieces. The day before, you are a fucking dumpster fire. And it really bothers me that they didn't put the A in Fntastic. Who does that?
Well, I mean, I guess because the name may have been taken. Fntastic's
that's
a
the
really
kinda-
common name.
That's the kind of fucking serial killer abomination that calls a hot dog a sandwich. Is people.
Everybody
the-
knows a hot dog's a taco.
Or is it supposed to be pronounced Fntastic?
Fntastic? Fntastic?
Fntastic? Like it's
It's-
fucking fantastic? Fntastic?
Tastic? Fucking
Like,
tastic?
I've got a really cool idea, guys. Let's do it Fntastic, but let's leave out the first A. What? Why?
That's high school band name shit. Is
It's like
there a
the
band
gym-
with that name? Oh, fuck, just change the letter. It's fine.
It's like the Gaffigan skit with Hot Pockets.
Uh,
Hot Pockets. That's the theme song. Well, we'll bring it up again if there's like a lawsuit or something.
oh,
like
I'm
that.
keeping
sure
an eye
there-
on it.
I'm sure there will be.
I'm sure
Yeah.
there will be.
But now it's time for the moment that I've been waiting for, which is to talk about the games that we've been playing this week, because we've got some very cool stuff to talk about, unless your name is Mike Dawson. So I'll go ahead and get started this week. Man, I went so hard in the paint last week, taking down both Mario RPG and Super Mario Brothers Wonder, that I got burnt out, admittedly, which does happen. So I fired up, a few different games here and there. I'm like, all right, I got to find the next thing that sticks. I hate this phase. I fucking hate it. And it happens to me. Like when I clear a big slew of games, this always happens where like I have that week to 2 week hangover from completing stuff where I'm like, I can't do it. I just need a break. So I've kind of half-heartedly been playing some Dark Souls. I'm progressed. I'm like 10 hours into it, which is very, very short amount of playtime for me in the course of a week. Having a lot of fun with it. I'm playing the old Xbox 360 version. I find the old gross pixely graphics very endearing. And as someone that didn't play the Souls series when it first came out, because everybody talked about, oh, it's the hardest game ever. Oh, it's so difficult, that I was like, I believe you. I won't play it. And then the Elden Ring hype eventually lured me in. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. And I played Demon Souls. I'm like, oh my God, I love this. So now I'm like, let's go back to Dark Souls. It is so funny as someone following that progression, as I'm sure many of you probably are, of how copy paste Elden Ring is of fucking Dark Souls. Like the music, everything. It's like the same fucking game. It's awesome. The only thing different is that it gives the illusion of this open world, but it's very channeled, but it feels open when you're moving through the world of Dark Souls. So it's very cool. It's just, on a much smaller scale, but like the whole vibe, the music in particular. I mean, I'm a big music guy. I'm like, I feel like this is some of the same music even that's in Elden Ring, back in 2011 in Dark Souls. It's really cool. So I'm having a great time with it. I'm doing the usual Mike Dawson build, full Unga Bunga. So all strength, all vitality, all endurance. And my guy is dumb as a fucking cinder block. He just goes, Zeinholder, smash. And that's the build that I've always run with in these From Software games. So I'm having a great time with it. I'll probably beat that next because I'm like, okay, I got to get that backlog momentum going. Then I don't usually talk about this in the show, but I am briefly going to mention a game that I spend a ton of time with every single week, which is Marvel Snap.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny, I've never hit infinite faster than I did this season. I'm already there.
I'm still at like 80.
I mean, I just cruised right on in with a really generic-y Loki deck. But what I'll say is this: what I did was they added a feature to the game where you can just pick a card or pick a couple cards that you like, and then it has a deck builder AI. So, I was like, well, let me try this out. I've always liked Loki, but I've always struggled at putting together a comprehensive Loki deck. So I just selected the Loki card, hit build deck, and then immediately went from 80 to infinite in like an hour. I'm like, what the fuck?
Wow.
And it's not a deck like really anyone else is using. Like, it doesn't have the Werewolf by Night. It's not like the broken configuration. It's just a hodgepodge of fucking cards that it threw together that says these work well together. And straight to infinite. So if you're getting into Marvel Snap and like the whole deck building feels like it's too much to figure out, fear not. Just pick a card that you think's cool, hit the deck builder.
Yep.
It'll put together a deck that statistically works, and you'll have fun with the game as you're building your collection. So wanted to point that out. I think that was a great feature that they added. Certainly as the game is picking up in popularity. So that's it. That's all I've done this week. I've done that, and I've played a lot of bass guitar, which isn't a video game.
Yeah,
so.
I've been really impressed with the deck builder myself as well. I mean, I mean at this point I've got, I don't know, easily 1,000 hours into Snap, and
It's crazy.
I mean, no question. Like no question. It's Steam alone, I'm at like 800-900, I think. So there's a lot of Snap. But ever since they did this deck builder, I mean, you know me, Mike. My problem and why I don't get to infinite is because I love experimenting with different decks. I never just like Google it and find the meta deck and go, oh, I'm just gonna play that. It's not my style. I like cooking something up, and so I'll build these decks and I'll be like, something's not working. I guess like this card and that card could go out, and then I'll hit the deck builder, and the two that it picks, I'm like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what this deck needs. So the deck builder's great. Have you messed with the Blob yet? The new card?
I don't have it, not yet.
He is very fun.
He is very susceptible to Cosmos and Shang-Chi's, but we'll save all that for another time, because now anyone that doesn't play the game is probably glossing over like I'm giving a review
Blacking
of
out.
F1 Manager.
I'm sorry. Where am I again?
Okay, so the games that I've been playing, since I have the PlayStation fixed now, I'm gonna say 10 hours into Spider-Man 2. I'm starting to feel that upswing where I've heard from everybody that the game takes a little bit of time to get going, and I definitely feel like I'm still in there, but I can feel the tension starting to build. I feel like all the dominoes are now in place, and I'm just waiting for whichever character is going to push them down and get it rolling. But there's a lot happening. I will say, it's not a spoiler because it's just a word, but the roller coaster moment in that game was so fucking dope. Holy shit. No, this game's fucking magnificent. It's incredible.
You're very close to domino time.
Good. No, I can feel that. I feel like when I fire it up tomorrow, shit's gonna hit the fan.
It will.
Awesome. Yep. Cannot wait. Cannot wait. But no, the game is running like a dream. It's gorgeous. The voice acting as always is really good. The story as always is really good. There's a lot of mini games in this game. It's pretty wild how many they took the time to put in there.
Have you had any of the bugs, or are you having the bug free? Because I had the bug free, but I know people seem to either have the bug free or they have the bugs.
I've
It's
had
so weird.
no bugs, not a
Yeah,
single one.
Shout out to a very talented streamer on Twitch, revealing too much. He's got some fucking hilarious clips on his channel from his playthrough of Spider-Man, where Spider-Man turned into a cube, a little, and not a big cube, a little like pocket Rubik's cube size cube that's shooting webs out of it and swinging through New York City.
It's adorable.
That's
It was adorable. But so he had the bugs. So shout out to revealing too much. If you feel so inclined, go and follow his Twitch channel. He's on
awesome.
almost every day. Very, very good streamer.
So yeah, so Spider-Man 2, having a lot of fun with it. I also on Mike's, after Mike talked about it last week, I got curious and I fired up Dragon's Dogma. It feels dated, but it should feel dated because it's old. But I will say, from the era that it came out, this is a fucking pretty cool game. It kind of feels like it reminds me a little bit of Dragon Age Inquisition, because
Totally.
Inquisition was much more of the action RPG, not the pausing strategy RPG. But the combat's not bad, and like, you know, the dodging and the, like you were saying, grabbing the enemies and latching onto them is cool, and your pawns that fight with you. So like there's these little bird creatures, and if one's down on the ground and you go and grab it, one of your teammates will come over and slash it right in front of you. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm gonna take the time to actually sit and beat the whole thing, but I was curious to fire it up, and I'm kind of upset with myself that I let this one slip past my radar, because I think at the time when this was released, I would have been all about this game. But I will say, on PC, it doesn't look bad at all. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen on Steam, it goes on sale all the time and get it for pretty cheap. There are mods out there that improve UI textures and graphic textures and stuff if you want to take a little bit of time to sort of beef it up a little bit and make it look a little nicer. But I'm running it bone stock right now, and I think it looks really good for how old it is. It holds up very well.
Well, and if you have a PlayStation Plus subscription higher than the standard tier, they still need to simplify that, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But it's there, so you can just download it on your extra, your PlayStation Plus extra.
Why don't
Have you ever been to fucking Cold Stone?
Yes.
Yes. I love Cold
Do you know what
Stone.
their sizes are?
Aren't they like, I like it, I love it,
Yeah.
it's fucking fantastic, or something like that?
Gotta have it. That's
Gotta
what I
have
feel
it.
like when I look at the fucking PlayStation tiers.
Yeah.
Is that I'm standing in a Cold Stone or like a fucking Starbucks or some shit where they couldn't just say small, medium, and large. Just give me PlayStation small. Give me PlayStation Plus medium. Give me PlayStation Plus large. Like, for fuck's sake.
But the fucking stupid thing is, it's like they already have like bronze, silver, gold, platinum for their trophies. So why not just fucking do that for PlayStation?
They could have done
Plus?
that. That would have made so much sense.
That makes so much
PlayStation
sense.
Plus bronze.
Yeah.
Oh, you want
instead you
That's
have
that?
first
You need
tier.
PlayStation Plus silver.
oh,
Oh,
you get
yeah.
PlayStation Plus, gotta have it.
It's so dumb.
PlayStation
dumb.
Plus, fucking
But-
fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, for Dragon's Dogma, for how old it is, I am pleasantly surprised. It's pretty cool. I'm digging the story. I'm digging the fights. The monsters are really neat. And finally, the last game I have to discuss, Pony Island. Holy shit!
Hell yeah.
So this game was on sale on Steam last week for 74 cents. So I tweeted it at Mike and was like, well, I think it's time, buddy.
I bought it. Maybe that's what I need to break my funk.
Dude, play it tonight. I'm telling you.
It's a funk breaker.
It is a funk breaker. Pony Island is like a 2.5, 3 hour long game.
Unless you're me.
It's very, very short.
30 hours later.
Let me
But
see how many hours I have.
the whole time I'm playing Inscryption and the whole time I'm playing Pony Island, there's this thought that keeps coming into your brain of, this game was created by a very, very clever son of a bitch.
Oh yeah.
And Pony Island is right there. It's it graphically doesn't do as many things as Inscryption does. Inscryption is definitely like the next step in the evolution, but that same cleverness, that same like, here's a setup for a puzzle and you think you've got it whooped, but I'm going to keep throwing fucking curveballs at you over and over. And once you think you've seen every single trick this game has, I'm going to give you another one. And then when you think you've seen it all, I'm going to give you another one. And it continues through the whole game. It's a blast. It's a super, I mean, if you have PC, the game requires a mouse. This game would not work with a controller at all. This is very much a computer game. You need a mouse and you need a keyboard because it is very much like you're on a computer chatting with people and playing video games and doing crazy shit. But dude, I mean, I think it's like a 9. I mean, it's real fucking good. And
I'm so glad you love it. Yeah.
It's really, really good. And this is a game I could totally see myself similar to the first Portal. The thing I love about the first Portal is that I sat down and I beat it in one sitting. I've heard a lot of great things about Portal. I love Half-Life. Let me check this out. And I sat down and was fucking glued for like, 3-4 hours until I rolled credits. This, I don't think I got up from my seat, frankly. I think I fired up Pony Island and was like, oh my God, this is so fucking cool, until I rolled credits. So, yeah. If you have a computer, Jesus Christ, again, it was on sale for 74 fucking cents. Devote an evening to this game and you will not be disappointed. It's very, very fun. And the exact same problem with Inscryption carries on to Pony Island, which is that I can't tell you a fucking thing about it without ruining it. I can just tell you that Daniel Mullins is a very, very clever son of a bitch, and this game is very, very cool. And now I got to play the Hex because I am completely in love with his other 2 games. So I got to play the Hex. And I think the Hex is another decently short one. So maybe I'll play that one this week and we'll talk about it on our next episode. But yeah, Pony Island, strong recommend. Bone Simple. Can't wait for the sequel. Dope as fuck. Mike, you have to play it. Strong recommend. Really, really good game.
This brings us to our real feature of the week. Kim,
Yes.
what have you been playing this week?
Okay, well, I'll save the good one for last so we can give people a warning. So first of all, I beat Control. Like, I beat it. I beat both DLCs and I'm done. I do want to kind of go in and do the rest of the side quests because I love Adi, but I'm done with Control, which means next week I start Alan Wake 2, and I'm very excited for that. So Control was awesome. The AWE DLC was so fun. That boss was rough. Like, that boss was really rough. I think, Mike, were you there watching? I literally just died again and again. And I even had friends who were like, I would be smashing my face against the keyboard right now. And I was like, I have to get this done. I have to. And then when he died, because it's like a DLC and there's still other stuff to do, it's just kind of like, that was it. And I'm like, wait, did I just beat the game? Like, did I just beat the DLC? And that was it. We were done. Yay. It was good. I really like Control a lot. It was fantastic. I was really happy with it. Okay. I played a game called Tin Hearts. Full disclosure, I am a Wired Productions creator, and it is a Wired production game. And basically, it's a Lemmings game. So you have to open a box and all these little toy soldiers come out, and you have to lead them through this like Rube Goldberg contraption to get into a door to move on to the next puzzle. And you're like learning the story of like this toy maker in the meantime. So it's a beautiful game, super duper chill. The music is amazing. And they did something really cool for Christmas. So for Christmas, they introduced something called Play Hard. At one point in the game, you take over one of the soldiers, but in Play Hard, you take over John McClane. Die Hard John McClane. So you're playing as John McClane in this game, and it's absolutely adorable, and I can't recommend it enough. And it's a really great It's a really great little game, and it's pretty long considering. I thought I was almost done because the puzzle was so hard, but it's a really great game, and I highly recommend. It's
Yeah,
a fun one.
they just released it on Game Pass, so if you have Game Pass, you can
Oh, nice, yeah,
snatch it there.
yeah,
as well,
good stuff.
so.
Awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. I played another game called Blood West, courtesy Hyperstrange. They published and developed it. Really cool game. The cutscene is all cell shading art, and it's absolutely stunning and beautiful. Voice acting is absolutely amazing. When you get into the gameplay, it's actually like 3D pixel. So it's very kind of like, picture like Minecraft looking world, but rounder, like not as many like square edges, right? But the pixelation of Minecraft, but you're looking for cursed objects and you are playing as an undead guy. And you're fighting these undead creatures, and it's rough. It's a hard game. But I actually had a lot of fun with it today. I really had a good time with it. It still, I feel like it needs a little bit more music in it, because the music you do hear is astounding. It's really good music. But the game itself was a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend. I definitely recommend, if you can get a hold of it and you're into that kind of style, to give it a go, because the story is kind of intriguing too, and I'm really digging it.
I'm watching a video of it right now. It kind of reminds me of. Do you remember the Shadow Man game way back when?
Yes.
Yeah.
N64 era.
This reminds me of Shadow Man a little bit. The kind of pixely, sort of creepy monsters. Everything is sort of dark and occult. And
I had a similar thought, Johnny, and this one's really gonna feel nice and gooey when I say it.
Okay.
Nightmare Creatures.
Does not ring a bell.
Wasn't that Wii U or something?
Oh no, it was PS1 and 64.
Nightmare Creatures?
Damn, I'm the only one that knows about Nightmare Creatures.
Wait, I might. It sounds so familiar.
Oh shit!
That one. I recognize that cover.
I love that game.
Oh
back in the day.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay, I do recognize this. No, but the 3D pixel art thing, I'm kind of digging that this is sort of making a comeback. There's a lot of games that have this look. Valheim kind of had a similar graphical sort of. It's like zoomed out, it doesn't really look that blocky, but when you actually, like, in motion, everything kind of looks good. But once you like stop and look at stuff, everything kind of has that rough around the edges sort of pixely stuff. I dig it. I like this graphical.
Yeah, it's a cool game. I'm really enjoying it. I am. It's tough. It's definitely a tough game, which makes it more fun, because I torture myself. But
it looks fun.
And then finally, we're gonna talk about something big. If you don't want any Inscryption spoilers, we love you, but you are free to go.
Yeah. Just to underline this, we are going to spoil the absolute living shit out of a game that you do not want spoiled for you.
You do not. I kicked people out of my stream.
So what I will say is, we're an hour in. You've had lots of time with us. We wish you the best. Have a great Christmas. And we'll be back after the holiday break with another great episode for you to enjoy. Now, if you're still sitting and listening, this is your last few final moments. To
for real,
not play stupid games and win stupid prizes. So if you don't want to graduate from fucked around and found out university, this is it. Because we're not holding back. So that's enough forewarning for Inscryption spoilers. So without further ado, Kim, go ahead.
I immediately moved Inscryption to my #1 favorite game of all times. I cannot.
Solid pick.
I can't describe to you enough how passionate I feel about this game. I told you, it's to the point where I'm like, did they do something? Did they like brainwash me or something? Because I don't know that I have ever loved a game this much, to the point where, yes, it took me over 44 hours to play this game. It wasn't all gameplay, granted. Okay, full disclosure here. I talk a lot when I stream. I read every single message in chat. I answer every single message in chat. We have conversations. My chat is wild and sometimes blows things up with like bits and sounds, and like my stream is absolutely wild. And so it wasn't 44 hours of straight gameplay, okay, but I did take a long time, and I wouldn't change a damn thing about it. I was so sad at the end of this game for so many reasons. And I think one of the biggest reasons was because it really fully hit me that I will never be able to play this game with the same awe and wonder again. And that hurts my heart because this game was just that good. This game was just that good. The fact that you start off, so here you are in this cabin with this ominous creature. You don't know his name yet, you know? And man, he just wants you to fail. And he wants you to fail so hard, you know? And you're just like, all means necessary, ripping out your tooth to put it on the scale to try and survive. And then he has all these little puzzles around the cabin that you have to try and solve. And he's taking your picture and then taunting you with it later by using your own cards against you. And like, you're like in this fight for your life the entire time. And he just wants you to fail so bad. And then you get to the end with Leshy, and he really didn't want you to fail. He really just wanted to give you a challenge because he really just wants to play a game. And he wanted the company. One of the things that killed me when he was like, he was basically asleep for so long. And then our character came along to wake him up and just revitalized him and gave him what he wanted. And I was like, my heart, because he's telling you this as we're deleting him. Like, why are you telling me this now? And why do we have to delete him? I mean, I know why we have to delete it. It's dangerous. I get it. We have to get rid of the game. But man, like the fact that like the scale disappears because it got deleted. And then he's like, we don't have to keep score. Let's just keep playing. You know, like like an old man who knows he's about to die and just wants to live out the last few moments in with like the one person who gave him life again. That's so deep for a fucking deck builder. That's so deep.
The juxtaposition between how he's initially presented as a villain,
yes,
to how your paradigm changes after Act 2, we'll say. Is really unnerving to sit through, because Inscryption does a really good job of convincing you that you understand what's happening and then pulling the rug out from you.
Yes.
And I've encountered a lot of games that can do that once, but Inscryption succeeds at doing it 3 times.
Yep. Yes.
Which is unheard of. I can't think of another game that completely pulls that off 3 times in one run. No problem. There is one point of solace I can offer you, Kim. Is no, you can never experience it for the first time again. I mean, your first play with Inscryption is the only time that you feel those feelings as they're happening to you. However, if you can find someone that's not played it and you can sit and watch that person go through it,
yes,
without it getting spoiled, that is the closest you come back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so tough because like, so you know, and anybody who like watches my clips on TikTok, I developed this love for the stoat. The stoat was my baby. I gave that stoat everything. Extra health, stoat. Extra power, stoat. Extra abilities, stoat. Everything was the stoat. My entire life was the stoat. There was no I could have the best card in the universe. And they're like, would you like to give a card more power? I'm like, yeah, the stoat. Always. And then the stoat was bad. Like, what do you mean That's my Stoat, and he's evil and terrible. And that was my baby. I gave him everything, and then he's trying to kill me. And so it was like, God, I had no idea. It kind of reminded me of like, oh my God. All right. I know it's an old game, but Heavy Rain, spoiler coming in 3, 2, 1. I was simping for that detective. I can't even tell you how hard. And it was one of those moments. One of those moments. Okay, spoiler done. I don't know if they're obviously not.
You did
listening.
a good job of not actually spoiling while getting that point across to people.
I guess you're right. You're right. You're right. So people who know it, they understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
Okay. So, man, but the Stoat was like everything to me. And so to find out that he's that evil, that the 3 enemies are going to come together, this 3 scribes who are like, fuck you, and be like, okay, come here. We need to get rid of this guy. Like, I nurtured him and I loved him and I like gave him my heart. Like, I have clips on TikTok that are like, my Stoat, I love my Stoat. And he was a fucker.
So there's this interesting secret, really deep secret, hidden in the console re-release of Inscryption. That is about, it's this whole sequence of storytelling through these clues that you wouldn't figure out in a million years. I mean, there's ciphers, there's hidden text that you have to plug into the death card naming system and the create a card machine at PO3's level in Act 3. All about this character named James Cobb. And basically, James Cobb is this guy that was studying. This is going to sound so wild, you know. There's this much story in a deck builder. So
It's crazy. There's this much story in a deck builder.
James Cobb is this guy studying as a ruby mage at Magnificus's tower, and like the goop guy, Magnificus does all sorts of like weird shit to his students, and so he's doing weird shit to this guy James Cobb in his tower. And James is such a fucked up person that he likes it. And Magnificus finally goes, this guy's got to go. So PO3 takes him and takes him in. But to be in PO3's factory, he keeps going to the doctor with the saws and stuff and making him more machine to try and get his factory to register this person. So like the story is going out and, you know, they're like 25%, 50% machine, 75% machine. We keep operating this guy, making him more and more machine, and he likes it, but he still won't register in PO3's computer. So PO3, our lovely little Stoat, says, enough's enough. I want this guy to work in my factory. That he lobs the guy's head off and sticks a gun in place where his head was. Now, they notice something strange, that this James Cobb guy is so fucked up, and from all these operations and stuff, his body still holds all of his memories, even though his head's been disposed of. So as you're playing the game and getting clues and stuff, you're like, well, wait a second. There's a card that is a character that has a gun for a head, and its name is Ray Gun Jimmy. And as you're playing the game, like once you've created the James Cobb death card, all the characters start saying things, but certain letters will be in parentheses in their sentences. And if you take all of the letters from the parentheses, it is this jumbled up bullshit, like H4, VN3, L2. And you're looking at it, and some guy figured out that these jumbled up letters, he ran them through a cipher, and it was the same character length as a YouTube video ID code. And sure as shit, Dan Mullins put up an unlisted YouTube video
He's a clever son of a bitch, man. I'm telling you.
His brain works like nobody else's.
And you can
Absolutely.
see that Raygun Jimmy shot his name into the floor at PO3's factory, and it's got like a whole new credit scene that rolls if you make it to this YouTube video. And it's only in the console version. Like, also, that is the level of wild shit we're dealing with
Yeah.
Dan Mullen's
Yeah.
games. And Johnny, I know, like, when the game first came out, you were the first person I know, actually the second person I know that beat it. So it's way back there for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's even still, I mean, just it's a game that kind of sticks with you forever, kind of thing.
Well, and there's also that paradigm shift of like the found footage thing that just comes sort of out of nowhere. You know, it's not enough that, oh, by the way, it's actually like 5 different card games that have their own rules and they're all different in a certain way. That's not enough. Within that story is the person who found this game and where he found it and what, and you figure out that, like, okay, I'm actually playing as a protagonist who is playing this game. That's the character that I'm playing. And then the reveal at the end. By the way, Kim, I just in our Discord for the Power Gamer podcast just gave you the link for my reaction at the end of the game. It's worth a little chuckle. But
Okay.
but I mean, no, this game is fantastic, and it's that fucking good.
Yeah. It really is. It like broke every boundary, because I went into it and I like deck builders, you know, but a deck builder really has to be fantastic to get to really keep me wanting to go again and again and again.
Yep.
I've played a bunch of deck builders and I'm like, yeah, I got to kind of be in the mood. And I literally was like, I can't wait to play more Inscryption. I could not wait to play more of it. I didn't want it to end. Just the beauty of each and every deck and each and every scenario as well. You had like the nature deck, you know, from Lecce, all based around beasts, you know, and
Yep.
sacrifice. And it was just, the cards themselves were so natural looking, you know, so beautiful, like parchment. And then you have Grimora, you know, whose cards were death. And just, they were rigid and cold,
Yep.
you know, and everything was bones. By the way, such a fucking hard deck to use for Act 2 until it got good. Until the deck got good. Oh my God. I gave somebody advice today. She said she wants to play Inscryption. She said she got to Act 2 and gave up because it was too hard. And I said, if you're going to do it again, would you like a piece of advice? And she said, yeah. I said, use Lecce's deck because you know it. That'll probably be easier. I'm like, I went with Grimora's and it was so freaking difficult. I couldn't get over how difficult it was. And then you have PO3's deck, which was technology.
Yep.
and just and like you could almost feel the cards, you know, how you would feel the steel under your hands, you know, between your fingers. And then at the end, when you have Grimora's cards, which were stunning, like I flat out said I would hang these as plaques in my house. I fell in love with that whole scenario, the way the table looked, the way the cards looked, just everything was so beautiful. And then Grimora reaching out her hand, it hurt so bad because yes, she was a scribe. I mean, but she's literally just protecting her area, you know, like she's literally just protecting. She doesn't want anybody to take her place. She's protecting. And I took her place. And then there she is reaching out her hand because I gave her a good game. And she's just like dead, you know, like you could see it. Her hand was like, just, oh my God, it was amazing. And
she
then
just
you go
disappears
to
in that blip. You just hear bzz.
Yeah, and she was so excited at first because she was like, we're gonna play a game. Like after everything went and the cannons came out and she threw the pirate mask on, you heard the pirate sound and then gone. And it was like, Shit. And I know Mike had told me there's something.
Casey's mod. Yeah, where you
Yeah.
play the pirate battle.
Yeah.
You have to check that out.
I will. And then you come to Magnificus, who was like, oh my God. The way he was crawling at the end, I was like, please, like, shake his hand. This poor guy, he's like, please, like, crawling over to shake our hand. And then we never got to shake his hand. And he was just another one who was like, he didn't want anything to end. He was like, this is ridiculous. This doesn't have to happen. For Pete's sake, our score started at 399 because he didn't want it to end. You know? So it was like, oh my God. And then the ending itself, where like the dev comes in and just kills your character. Just dead. You're dead. You gotta go. You know too much. You're dead. Like, what the shit is happening? And this game was, did I expect anything less? Absolutely not, because I played Pony Island and Daniel Mullins is an absolute wild man.
One of my favorite things about Inscryption, and I want this while it's fresh on your mind, Kim, is that there was an entire, I mean, each one of the scribes has literally their own game with its own set of rules, top to bottom. And you could tell when you start playing against Grimora there at the end that there's an entire game built that looks fucking awesome. And you only get to play it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like, there could be an entire game of that.
Yep.
And the Magnificus one looks even crazier, right? With your little paddle that you're playing. And you don't even really get to fucking play that at all. And it's like, I don't doubt it, because they built the game for Act 2, where you're in the pixelated RPG adventure. So you know the games exist, and you're like, oh my God, like, I so want to play.
Give me more.
Inscryption 2 is going to come after Pony
Let
Island
me play
2 for
these.
Sure.
Man.
I really, really hope so. I really hope I get to play, like, if they can do a whole game around Grimora and Magnificus, like they did around Leshy and PO3.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be a dream come true.
I loved Grimora because I loved her whole aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
I really did. The fact that like this sweet little stink bug, you know, was Grimora, you know, this cute little sweet little stink bug that I refused to get rid of the entire time because I was like, well,
OP. Yeah.
I'm like, Stoat's my baby. I always have to keep the stink bug. Like, I worked hard to get the stink bug, you know? And so to find out like that was Grimora, you know, and to see her in her full form and to know that she has this badass game. Like, I really want to spend more time with her in that dead world, you know, and I want to see her more because her model is absolutely beautiful.
I agree.
Like, her model is stunning. It was absolutely a wild adventure, and it really is sad. Like, it's not often I find people that I'm like, I really want to watch them play XYZ game, you know, because I want to see their wonder. But this is one of those games that I'm like, I want to watch my friends play this for the first time so that I could see their heads go. But then I'm also worried because I'm like, what if I go to watch somebody who's playing it and they're like, all right, yeah, this is cool. Like, that's your reaction? Like, I just want to be like, what do you mean? Do you have no soul? You know?
Well, and it's very hard to, as a viewer, just sit and watch it happen, and you just kind of have to trust that it will. You know, we had some people that were losing their patience there.
Yes.
During your playthrough, and it's like,
Yes.
no, you just have to trust.
Just have to be
that
patient.
the game will eventually lead people to those things. I mean, that can be
Yes.
very hard because now you know, now that you've completed it, that yeah, you'll be scared that like somebody won't get it, kind of thing. And you really just have to step back when you're watching someone play this, if you're familiar with the game, and have that discipline to let them have those same moments. because it's the surprise in Inscryption that makes it special. Like if you sat down with a guide to play Inscryption, I'm very pro using guides, but I mean that would fucking ruin it.
Yeah. And I think it all comes down to like personality trait. You know, you have some people who like to see a game unfold again, right? They're watching because they want to see the game unfold again. And then you have people who are watching because they want to see this person unfold the game. You know, and so that's what was hard, because I definitely had people who wanted to see the game unfold again, as opposed to, you know, being more mesmerized by watching me unfold it, until they finally like took a step back and they were like, okay, let me calm down. You know, it'll let me take a breather. Let me stop giving hints and little, you know, and I had to do a little bit of like, you need to stop. As a matter of fact, the last day I played it, I was like, you have to stop right now. Like, just stop. Don't say another word, because people get very impatient. And I do take a long time to get through things because I think everything through. I'm a thinker. That's just how I am. I'm not one to brute force things. My buddy Ash, who's one of my most amazing friends and viewers and community members, I love her so much.
Shout out to Lenny.
Oh, her frog, Lenny. She was like, I brute forced it. She got done with the game in no time, because she's like, I brute forced everything. But I'm not really a brute forcer. You know, I am definitely much more of a take your time, think, enjoy it, kind of soak it up kind of person. And, you know, I try to be that way in life too. And I think, you know, that's really hard for people sometimes when they're watching, because I'm not one to just like bah, 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 and put stuff out and be like, yeah. Instead, I'm like, if I put this here, like that's how I am, you know. And some people I can understand have a hard time with that, you know, but that's my brain. That's why I have certain people who play games with me, because the ones who play games with me on stream understand that is exactly how I am. And so they're very patient people.
Right.
Let's just say my partner is one of the most patient people I have ever met in my life.
He's got to be, yeah.
He is, because I'm like that with everything. Everything.
Yeah, when I'm watching,
yeah.
I'm always doing something else. So like I'll either be working on music or I'll be playing something. So yeah, it was fun with Inscryption because I'd always have an ear kind of turned towards it to hear, oh, there's an aha moment coming up. So I could put down what I was doing and just get locked in and watching it. Yeah, it's got to be an incredibly tough game at this point in particular, now that, you know, it's been out for a while, to stream that game. Because I mean, Johnny, even when you were playing it relatively close to its release,
Yeah.
I mean, this game brings the fucking backseat bus like no other.
It does. It does.
It does.
So
I think the only other games I've played where the backseating was worse was Telltale's Walking Dead.
ooh, that's also a tough one to deal with, that because the whole point of a Telltale game is to make your decisions and have to fucking live with them.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I had people coming in whose names were spoilers. Oh yeah. that was rough. Telltale's Walking Dead was one of the hardest games I played because of backseaters. And
that's
that was
also one of the most
hard.
Emotionally fucking wrecking games ever.
Yes.
That game destroyed me emotionally like multiple times.
Yep. And it's interesting because it's so crazy to me because it's along the same lines of Life is Strange, you know, decision-based game, blah, blah, blah. But yet you played Life is Strange, and that's a community that literally wants you to figure everything out and take your own path, and there's no backseating. So it's so funny how it's like completely different, even though they're like the same genre of game. The Telltale Walking Dead people were like ramming stuff down your throat, and Life is Strange people are like, this is so lovely to watch them experience this the first time. You know what I mean? So it's really funny. But Inscryption was definitely, a lot of people come out. I know a lot of people come out in order to see you play it and to see your reactions and to see how you're going to play things out. But man, it was definitely like, I literally put a message in my staff chat and I was like, I need mods like on deck. I need mods on deck. If you think anything could be potentially spoilery, like delete it. Just please, I am begging you, because it was pretty bad.
I guess that kind of wraps Inscryption for now.
I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't stop playing it. Plain and simple.
Not
I
the
mean,
same.
there's
I know. I mean, I want to. But I have so many freaking games to play. I'm covering Skull and Bones. I just got like 3 more games I have to cover, and I want to start doing a weekly Warframe stream.
There is an entire boss in Act 3 you haven't even seen yet, so you might at least want to get back to that.
I know.
I
do want
the only
to.
hint I can give you is
I have to just.
In Act 3, how all the rooms have go up, go left, go right, go down. I never once saw you go diagonal.
Okay.
Act 3.
Okay.
You need to investigate every nook and cranny. I've been telling you the whole time I watch you play a game. You have to investigate the entire screen.
I was doing a lot of clicking. Like, I clicked wherever there were things, but I didn't think to click where there was nothing.
Yeah, there's certain things, if your mouse cursor goes over it, that will appear that you did not see.
Okay.
So Act 3, and it's one of the best boss fights in the game. And I mean, it's in every version of it. So
okay.
For anyone listening into the spoiler cast that's completed it and is like, what the fuck is Mike talking about? There's an entire boss battle you might not have seen. That's awesome. It's in Act 3. Cool. And
I have to find the time. I absolutely have to find the time, because I literally don't want that game to end. God, I love it.
Well, but here's the thing. Now that you know it,
yeah,
you'll get through it so fast, because all the puzzles in Act 1. You know exactly how to get through Act 2.
I did never find the one puzzle in Act 3 with the 3 things that you turn. I only found the flight.
Yeah, the guy's head that is floating around in Act 3.
You mean the which head that's floating around? The traitor, trapper, or whatever.
Not the traitor. So in the compactor, there's a voice that comes from it. It's James Cobb, the guy I was talking about earlier. His head still talks, even though it was detached from his body. That's another cool thing that you can find. Yeah. And there's even a card of the compactor in Act 2. And when you kill it, this is only on the PlayStation. When you kill it through your controller, because the PlayStation controller has a speaker, it'll say the word pain very softly. And then it turns into a spider bot, which just has a human head on it and spider legs out of it. That's James Cobb's head.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I have to find the things to the.
There's so much stuff
to that. There's a lot I missed.
I would say maybe put out there that the PS5 version would be really nice to have. There's some puzzles on the PS5. Like, how after you take Leshy's picture and he's freaking out, and then you're in the room and you turn and you can see the new icon on the wall.
Yeah.
So on the PS5, when that moment happens and you look down at your controller, how it's that light ring that goes around the whole PS5 controller?
Mm-hmm.
It starts flashing like this.
It's giving you a code?
Morse code. And it's still one of the puzzles in the game.
Oh, so smart.
That's
I'm so clever.
Daniel Mullins, man.
Yeah. So yeah, anyone go back to Inscryption. You shouldn't be here if you haven't fucking played it.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes people approach it like, oh, it's a deck builder. Like, what am I going to get spoiled? And it's
if you listen to this and haven't played it, don't play it for like a month so you completely forget about everything that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Because it probably sounds like babble anyways. And so just let it exit your brain hole and then go play it.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who stuck around, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. It's that time of the season. I know as I've gotten older that for a lot of you, it's maybe not your favorite time of the year, and that's totally cool. So if this is a tough time of year for you. We get that also. So our thoughts and prayers with you if that's the case. If this is a cheerful time of the year for you, great. But I know that's not the case for everyone. So I don't want to act like it's all cheer around the world, because sometimes Christmas can be a difficult holiday. So we wish you the best either way. So happy holidays. May the intention and feelings behind the season be with you and warm your heart. We are going to take next week off, as we will be celebrating the holidays and getting ready for that. But we will be back again, just not next week, with another great episode of the Power Gamer podcast for you to enjoy. Do be sure you don't have to miss us. Kim, you'll be streaming over on Twitch quite regularly. Johnny, I'm sure we'll see you over there at some point too.
Yep.
If you want their links, they're in the show notes, regardless of if you're listening on an audio platform or if you're listening on YouTube. So just scroll down and you can get direct links to their channels to follow and see them until we are, of course, back again.
I'll be recording Pixel Dicks too.
We love Perky Goblins and Pixel Dicks.
Yeah.
Over on Ko-fi. You can get it for just $2. I mean, what a deal.
$2.
Yeah, you can't even sign up for an OnlyFans page for that little shit. We will be back again at that point in time with another great episode for you to enjoy. Until that time, I'm Mike Dawson.
I'm Johnny Paulus.
I am Kim Pixel Dick Bonagillo.
Tune in next time. Take care.
Catch you on the flip flop.
Ooh, yeah.
Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.